I ain't no imposter, my shorty like impossible. Need a long table just to eat with my apostles. Gotta get it now, you know they crucify the greatest. And now be damned if I die before I make it. I ain't saying nothing that you never heard before, but promise when I say it, it's gon' leave another feeling folk. And if I'm stuck out in the rain, know that I won't origami means I never fold. Never told, always staying on my toes. A real nigga told me gotta live your best life. A real homie told me do it if it feels right. So here
What's up guys, Booch here, and today I have a great video for you guys. Today I'm going to give you guys my 5 tips for training success, and I think this is a really important topic to talk about because it's not something many people like to discuss just because it's not really as exciting as games that bring goals, excitement, fans, but I think personally that training is probably 80% of the job and 20% being matches, because training is just something that you really can't get around from when you're a kid all the way up to when you're a professional. It's something that you have to do that makes you sharp so that you can perform in the match. I get there are some players who are just not training players and are just better in matches, but the majority of us do have to perform in training so that we can perform in the match, except for, you know, the special talents. But I'm going to tell you guys about the things that are important before, during, and after training, my 5 tips to achieve all those, and something that I just have been really passionate about since I was about 14 years old is how I prepare for training, how I train, what I do to my body after I'm done training. So I'm going to share with you guys that today. If you are enjoying the channel, like and subscribe. It'll be greatly appreciated. But yeah, let's get on into the video. All right, you guys, so tip number 1 is going to be well before training, and you want to make sure that you get your nutrition and hydration in well prior to training. So maybe like a day before, night before. Whenever you have training, you want to get hours and hours and hours in all your nutrition, all your food, all your water, whatever energy drink or vitamins you need, just because you want to make sure you go into training at top capacity. You want to make sure that you can perform throughout the whole training without getting fatigued, without getting tired, and nutrition and hydration is a major part of that. I get when you're younger you might slack off on that a little bit just because sometimes you're not in charge of your diet, and that's okay because I wasn't in charge of my diet. My parents were in charge of that when I was younger. But as you get older, you want to make sure that you're eating the right foods, getting the right carbs, protein, fats, all that stuff that you need to perform for a full hour and 30 minutes, or if training is longer, maybe 2 hours. And I think that's just not something that's, you know, talked about as much as it should be, because it's not exciting. And it's some things that people think is just something that you don't really have to pay attention to, especially when you're younger, when you're just full of energy and you can play for days. But trust me, nutrition, hydration, you need that. Do not forget it. Tip number 2. Now this tip, I think I didn't really start really paying attention to this until maybe, I don't know, maybe like 17, is that you want to make sure you are mentally prepared for training. Now that could be by just being by yourself, focusing on your own, or sometimes it could be for some players chatting with their teammates, cracking jokes in the locker room, enjoying your time before training. And for me, it was listening to music that I liked, that pumped me up, that, you know, got me in the zone, got me in the mood to train, because training sometimes can be in the morning, and in the morning you can be groggy and a little bit tired. But I always felt that if I took that little bit of time to get mentally prepared, mentally focused, and get locked in with whatever music I wanted to listen to, whether that be hip hop, rap, R&B, whatever the case may be, I just feel like getting mentally locked in and prepared for training is very important, and you don't want to miss out on doing that just because everybody needs to be at a certain level before training. Some people like to be more relaxed, some people like to be more focused. You just need to find out what works best for you. For me personally, that was listening to music, getting focused, getting locked in, and making sure that I'm prepared for the training session ahead. Tip number 3. Now this is not something that as a kid you do very often, just because your body's youthful, full of energy, you can play all day, you don't really think about this. But as you get older, you need to really be doing this before every session, and maybe even after, and that's stretching, foam rolling, a good warm up for your body, activation work for any muscles that you need activating, your glutes, hamstrings, calves, all of that. you really want to start doing that before training, just because your body needs it. Trust me, your body needs it, a lot of it. I like to do foam rolling and stretching, and also a little bit of mobility work before training for my hips, just because I know I have tight hips. But everybody is different. So some people might like to just do some stretching. Some people might like to do some band work. Others might like to do foam rolling. I like to mix it up day to day. Typically, I always do foam rolling and mobility work. Always. I might add in some band work some days, but always those two, just so that I'm feeling good, feeling refreshed, and feeling ready to go to start training flying. All right, guys, so tip number 4. So this tip is one of the more important tips on my list. If you don't do any of the tips I mentioned before, do this tip still, because it really helps you in the long run, especially in matches. And those are the things that, you know, people look at the most. But it's try to stay as mentally focused on every single aspect of the session. This is very important because it'll translate to the game so that you don't have any mental lapses, so you don't lose your markers, so you don't make silly mistakes on passes, because you've been training this focus throughout the week. And this starts from the warm-up. This starts from just a simple drill, like maybe jogging from one cone to the next, or sprinting from one cone to the next. You don't want to stop early. You don't want to cheat. You don't want to do any of that. You want to make sure you're holding yourself accountable to every single aspect of every drill. And the technical drills are even more so, just because sometimes people like to take sloppy touches when they're warming up, or they like to do sloppy dribbling when they're warming up. And I just feel like if you focus from the very beginning on every single detail, whether it's making sure you're passing with your correct foot to their correct foot, or taking the right touch with one foot to pass to the next foot, all these little things, I promise you, they translate throughout the week and into the matches or whatever training games your team might have. I promise you, it's very important to focus on every single aspect of the training session. And if you ever find yourself, you know, losing focus or feeling a little bit mentally fatigued, I promise you that's just a start. As you start doing it more often and working on your focus capacity and your focus endurance, you'll find that it just becomes automatic, and you're actually going to start like really holding yourself accountable to the standards that you set, to make sure that every single thing you do, you're focused on it 100% until the water break. Once the water break happens, relax, let your mind be at ease, and then get back focused when the next drill starts. That is a very important tip that I don't think is stressed enough. I don't think I started working on that until I was maybe 17, but I'm always trying to give younger players new tips, new tricks to help them progress to the professional level like I did. So yeah, tip number 4, stay focused on everything, even the little minute details. Okay, and tip number 5. Now tip number 5 is, it's a hard one to grasp at first, just because you're always in your head, but I would say tip number 5 is, don't worry about the little mistakes you might make. Keep trying whatever you're doing, whether that's a difficult pass, a difficult skill, a difficult run, whatever you're trying to do that might seem a little bit hard at first. You got to keep trying it. Mistakes will happen to every single player. They always happen. But it's the players who aren't making any mistakes that typically aren't trying new things or difficult things. They're typically doing things that every player can probably do, and which is not bad. Don't worry, that's not bad. But mistakes will happen. Don't let that get you down in training. Don't let yourself dwell on it too much, because you don't want it to affect the next play. You make a mistake, you analyze what you did, what you could have done better, and then you move on. It's important that you do this throughout your career. Whenever you started playing, you need to start doing that from then, because you don't want that to build on and start compounding mistakes. So you make one mistake and then you're still thinking about it, and then you make another mistake, and now your confidence is dropping. You just want to try to make one mistake, analyze it, understand what you could have done better, and then move on. Because the game moves fast, things change. You can go from having a bad game to having a great game if you can just work on focusing and staying, you know, mentally upbeat. Don't let things get you down too much. Mistakes will always happen. All right, so there you have it. My 5 tips for training success. I think every young player should be told these when they're younger. I was fortunate enough to be able to be told this when I was younger. Probably should have been told a little bit even earlier, as early as possible. But you know, not everybody has the same knowledge as I do now. So those are my 5 tips. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys implement these yourself in your daily routines before training, after training, and during training, because I believe it'll really, really help you and accelerate your growth as a player. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Like and subscribe if you are enjoying the channel and the video. But yeah, be easy.